Quickenbush in terms of what you can see, because of course each and every month and each and every season brings something new and magical. And so Gendre and myself find ourselves on Hyena Road. Once again, Gendre, what was it you told me before the lions killed a buffalo here? There we go. Nothing ever happens on Hyena Road. 2 seconds later, we had a live buffalo kill unfolding in front of our eyes. And now, of course, we're on our way to see a different buffalo kill. And of course, the big thing about going away is that one misses out on those crucial moments of development. And I'm very excited to see these little lion cubs. And Liz has sent through that I will be amazed at how much they have grown. And Liz, I do not doubt you for 1 second. I have, of course, on the odd occasion been keeping track of the various screenshots and clips and highlight reels of whatever happens to be seen while I'm away. But there's nothing quite like seeing them up close for yourself, live on safari. So I'm very excited about this. And I have no doubt, because lion cubs do grow at the most incredible rate. We're going to be looking back 6 months down the line at our lovely Nkuhuma cubs and just bemoaning the fact that they are no longer in that cute cub stage, and yet at the same time being excited for what is to come. I've no idea where this sighting is, by the way, but I'll figure it out. Besides, Herbert very kindly dropped a quarry branch. So this is one of their favorite patches, actually. This is where we think they have been denning their cubs in the past. Now, of course, the little cubs are big enough, old enough and strong enough and scary enough to be running with the pride, which I am very excited to see. Excuse me. I'm going to try not to do that, because once I start, then I can't stop. So I just mustn't give myself that leeway. Right, it is on the western side somewhere. There we go. And as we start to make our way in, and I warn you now, this could be quite a complicated procedure, and Tony's asked a really lovely question, which is, am I as addicted to my job as some of our regular viewers are to the show? And my answer to that is yes. The truth is, I actually really don't know. I can't imagine myself being anywhere else or doing anything else. Whenever I go back to the city, as lovely as it is to see the people there and basically to see the people there, there's nothing else really that nice about a city for me personally. But I'm always struck, whenever I head back home to where I feel most comfortable, I'm always struck by this feeling of peace. As soon as I drive over the Drakensberg mountains, it's like I can breathe again properly. Not so much this time because I've had this terrible cold, but you know what I mean. Doesn't help that the light's shining right in our eyes. Can't see where the tracks are. We'll just keep heading. We'll just keep going until we find something. You got tracks there? Perfect, thank you, Gendre. Oh, there we go. Where's going to be easiest? This way seems to be the way. It's another exciting part of the lion's development that Tony has mentioned, which is the fact that you can't wait for the young male lions to develop their mohawks. Now Liz, of course, by the way, thank you Liz, since you are watching, and many others have spent hours and hours going through the footage and having a look at the genders of the different cubs, the sex of the different cubs. I will remember offhand. I did double check exactly what it was, and I mean, I haven't stopped and confirmed for myself, but it does seem that we have at least 2 males, which is fantastic news. And yes, kind of like what I was saying with the young kudu, there's something wonderful about young male animals when they're at that early, oh thank you, hello antenna, at that early stage of development. Okay, there's Andre. Right, where do we go next? We go this way. See some impala. That is not a lion. Now, Herbert did say it was very, very tricky to get in here. Oh, it's lovely to hear, Gracie, that you are watching. Gracie is 9 years old, and while I was away, Gracie got a baby elephant called Snuggles that she gets a picture of once a month, and that I would absolutely love him. Gracie, I am certain that I would love him. That sounds wonderful, and it's lovely to hear you watching. I have very much missed you, Gracie. We'll continue this conversation once I've managed to make my way through here, because I've got some amazing stories. I did promise you some stories from my leave, so I do have some stories to tell you. Goodness gracious me. These lions have picked a spot. This appears to be the way. Perhaps Mr. Impala over there could give us some directions. Hello, Mr. Impala. No, don't go that way. That's where the lions are. No, no. No, perhaps he knows something we don't. Right. Just going to make sure that this impala goes in the right direction. I don't want to push him into the lions. Not that they're going to... Chances are they're not even going to give him a second glance with bellies full of buffalo. Oh. Here's a vehicle. A station with the Ngala for Jamie. Okay, copy that, thank you. I think I've got your visual. Yes, got your visual. Okay, I guess we're just going to settle here for one moment, because there's 2 vehicles in the sighting already, so they're going to be pulling out in one moment, and then we'll be able to make our way into the Nkuhumas, and I get to see how big those cubs have got. And of course, some of the males now, because the oldest set must be what, 4 months? Nearly 5 months? No, 4 months old now. They're going to start to get that tufty little mane growth that I'm so looking forward to seeing, as Tony said. I think they're in there. Pretty sure I saw a vehicle. So, while we're here, and while we're sitting, I'll tell Gracie, and of course all the others, but Gracie did ask me for stories of my leave while I was away. So Gracie, one of the things that I did was I went to go to Brent's parents' house, and we went to go see wild dog puppies, which are the youngest I have ever seen wild dog puppies. They were absolutely amazing, these tiny, tiny little creatures. But one of the highlights of my holiday was sitting at my mom's balcony, and she has a flat in Johannesburg, sitting on my mom's balcony and watching a southern masked weaver that I nicknamed William build his nest. And when I first arrived, so a weaver is a bird, I'll find a picture of it for you while I chat. And when I first arrived, he'd built the frame of his nest, and of course weavers build their nests so that they can attract the ladies, so the men do all the building. So William the weaver was terribly, terribly dedicated to his job. He spent hours and hours every single day perfecting this nest, and he eventually, in the 5 days that I was there, he built this perfectly round nest, filled it up with all kinds of lovely sort of, there we go, that's what William looked like. All sorts of lovely sort of stuffing and comfort spots and fluffiness to help soften it, and obviously in the hope of attracting the slightly drabber female. And then he would sit and sing day in and day out, waiting for the love of his life to come and join him. And whilst he managed to fend off all kinds of males, in the time that I was there, I think that William got a little bit eager. I think he built his nest a little bit too soon. But it was lovely to see, and I'm really hoping that when my mom gets back, she'll be able to tell me whether or not William's nest worked and he managed to attract a lovely lady. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's not a lion, it's an Inyala. I can hear vehicles going out much further to the north of where I am. Should we go and investigate? Perhaps it was not a vehicle that I saw hidden in the bushes. I don't hear any talking either, or lions growling, so let's carry on in our search for things. And then, Gracie, I met a very special, or I was reacquainted with a very special friend who is, I'm not going to say where I saw him, where I happened to be, but his name is Palmer, and he is a very, very special animal that unfortunately we can't show on Safari Live, but it wasn't here that I saw him, and it's one of my favorite creatures. So I met Palmer, who's an old friend of mine, and an animal. What else? Oh, I had a lovely cheetah sighting, an extraordinary cheetah sighting, with two brothers. This was on the reserve that I used to work at, calling to each other, having a marvelous time. This does look like it's the right way. And now, in a curious turn of affairs, whoopsie, there are lions at the damn camera. Now, apparently that could just be that they're going to go and have a drink. I'm quite far away from the damn camera now, and it's going to take me a while to be able to get out of this particular spot. Where are these tracks going? Okay, so the lion... Yeah, I've got them here, thanks. So the lions have gone for a drink, but it's probably not all of them. So what they do when they're at a kill like this is they'll take turns to go and relieve their thirst, whilst one of them stays behind to make sure that there are no threats coming like hyenas to steal their kill. The wonderful news, of course, is that both Steph and myself are out here. So whilst we go and search for the buffalo kill, Steph is going to race through to the Djuma Dam camera. Aha! People! Marvellous! That can only mean one thing: we're on the right track. Quite literally. Okay, let's go and say hello to Aubrey. So Steph's going to race through to the dam cam, or to the Djuma Dam, have a look at those lionesses, and we'll make our way to the kill. Okay, we gotta go that way. That's going to be easiest. Now that is a very good question from Roger, who would like to know if I have any idea when that kill took place. Roger, if I had to guess, I would say probably early this morning, sometime after Steph saw them disappearing off in this direction. And the reason I say that is just statistics. So lions, of course, it is getting hotter now in the mornings, and lions, of course, don't like to be active during the hottest times of the day. But that being said, Roger, lions don't read the textbooks, do they? So I have seen the Nkuhumas hunt and kill a buffalo successfully. Wave hello to everybody. On a day that was sort of 33, 34 odd degrees, so close in the 90s Fahrenheit. Especially females, they tend to be very dedicated in terms of, well, I mean, you know, they've got to sustain themselves, and in this particular case, sustain cubs as well. So my guess would be early this morning, but I don't know for certain. And of course, that mist that we experienced would also certainly have helped us out. Oh, there we go. I did see a vehicle. It was in the right direction. Thank goodness. Not going crazy. Okie dokie. Well done to Herbert for finding this, because this is not an easy position. Okay. Where are we going? I think we're going through here. Yay! I'm so excited. Gonna go see the lion cubs. Okay, how are we gonna do here, Gendre? Oh, there they are. Never mind. How marvelous. Look at that. It's a big buffalo. Oh. Hello, monsters. Are you getting tucked in? Just listen to the sound, sorry. As I said that, they went completely quiet. Oh, this is too magical. And they've obviously been too tired to even feed off it properly, because hardly any of it's been eaten. There's cubs everywhere, emerging out of the grass. Oh, such fierce noises. It's amazing. At such a young age, already that instinct kicking in. What an extraordinary thing to witness live. Oh! Getting a deep growl from Mom there. And of course, it's every lion for himself at a carcass like this one. It means the little ones have to fight for their spot. And with their tiny little jaws and mouths, it's not so easy to break into another part of the carcass, so they have to go and feed where there's an adult feeding already. And Mom might be a bit more tolerant, but as I noticed while I was away, there was some extraordinary... Oh, look at her face. There's an extraordinary couple of sightings with male lions. Look at her face. Hot and exhausted. I would love to know when they brought this buffalo down. It's very, very fresh to me. I'll copy that, Mike. You can make your way in. It's just myself. Gosh, I don't even know which lion cubs I'm looking at now. It used to be so easy to tell them apart. It's going to get harder and harder and harder now. These must be the oldest ones, surely. The sound effects are just extraordinary. Sliding under Mom. So young, and yet... Oh! So vicious. Gone are our little bundles of innocence, replaced by these savage little creatures, full of noise and ferocity. Look at that, getting right into the carcass. And Cecilia, of course, is picking up on the body language of our amazing lions and watching the cubs' ears flat down against their backs. And that, of course, is also a very, very good indication of their current mood. And what's amazing about that is that whenever we watch the adult lions, that's exactly the posture that they adopt when they first start to feed. Ears flat. And those of you with cats and dogs and horses will, of course, know instinctively what that means. It means the animal that you're dealing with is cross and on the defensive, possibly even a bit aggressive, but usually it's sort of defensive, snarling and growling. You know when your dog lays its ears flat, or when your cat lays its ears flat, and especially when a horse lays its ears flat, you might well be in for a tough time, and with lions that is no different. And the cubs are squabbling over the meat. It's tough being a little lion cub. You've got to get all that food, but you're not really big enough to fight for your place at the carcass. Luckily for them, their mothers are true huntresses, masters of catching buffalo. Now, as far as I know with Steph, there were only 3 lionesses this morning. The other 2 were mating in Amber Eyes and the young female mating in Buffelshoek with the Birmingham boys, which means that our 3 lionesses managed to bring this big buffalo down on their own. Look at that cub. Clinging on for dear life. Ooh. What's up? Oh, it's got your attention. As we watch our little cub making its way back towards the buffalo kill and dinner, William, who is 6 years old and watching with his mum in Johannesburg. William, it's so lovely to have you on. Oh, scrapping. Sorry, William. I'm going to answer your question in a moment. Oh. So William's asked a brilliant question, which is while he's watching the cubs, he wants to know how much they could eat in one go. Now, William, typically an adult lion, that like this big female, she could eat up to probably somewhere in the region of 7 to 10 kilograms in one big sort of meal, one big eating. She'll eat more than that over the next few days, but that would be her sort of initial stomach bulging, gorging session. The cubs, because they're much, much smaller, it'll be a lot less than that. And you'll probably find it's only a couple of 100 grams at a time. They're still young. They are, at this point, almost completely weaned. You know, might suckle the mom's milk every now and again, but they're almost totally reliant on the meat of the buffalo, or whatever their moms happen to catch. So you're probably looking at a couple of 100 grams, which, William, is a lot of food. So think about how much you have it. Maybe you have a nice family meal sometimes when you felt your absolute fullest, as much as you've ever eaten in your whole life before. These lion cubs eat more because they have to. They never know when they're next going to get a chance to eat like this. So I'm just going to be quiet so you can hear these sounds. Sorry, F, standby 1. Oh, look at them tucking in. Oh, sorry about that. Sure. It's amazing how tough these little creatures have to be, and it's astounding how the social bonds that are so essential to the lion's survival and so incredibly strong at all other times. Look, I mean, they're not tearing into each other, but they're certainly giving each other what for. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little ones. There's number 5 off on the edge. And apparently those females have, oh, there, I think I saw number 6. Apparently those lionesses have moved away from the dam camera. So there's a good chance that they're going to be making their way back towards this kill. I didn't think they'd be gone for too long. Oh, it's just a pile of lions. It's hard to know where one begins and the other ends. What a fantastic way to come back from leave, hey, Andre? Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can reposition to get us the clearest possible view. And while I do that, Steph is back up and running. Let us find out what his plans are for this afternoon.
Welcome back. Yes, we've been cruising around Djuma looking for something else to show you, and I've decided that we'd go back to Sindile and see if we can spice up Jamie's lion sighting today with a leopard sighting just to end off the show. The light is just so beautiful today. Brian was just admiring how it reflects off of the baldness of my head at almost the same intensity that it comes from the star in question.
It's wonderful.
And so we're going to see if we can find Cindile for you. Jamie left him a little bit earlier. It looked like he was going to get up and move, but then he has a little bit of meat left. Doesn't need to drink, remembering that Sydney's dam is quite close, but he hasn't seemed to have visited it at all. And he gets all the moisture he needs from the blood and the intestines of that impala. All the moisture he needs. Yes, that's what I said. Excuse me. I'm still as scatterbrained as anything today. Bit of dehydration probably. Got to get used to drinking water again as the temperature here rise. Alright, we are now pretty close to where we saw him last. He's been fairly skittish with some vehicles. Reports that I'm getting from some of the cars that he's not comfortable with cars with large amounts of people on. But he's been okay with us so far. Touch wood, I think. So let's go have a look here. Erica, you've asked a nice question. Why do birds give alarm calls when they see big cats? And you've said when neither lion nor leopard hunt them. Erica, I don't understand why they alarm call at lion. They definitely alarm call at leopard, because leopard do catch birds. Not the small tiny little ones, but absolutely they'll go for francolin and they'll go for anything bigger, guinea fowl. But it's a good question that they absolutely do alarm call for lion, and there is no real reason other than perhaps a baby lion would hunt a bird just to practice potentially, and that sets in, you know, this natural fear. So young lions will practice on birds, and so will young leopard in actual fact. So perhaps that's where it comes from. It's just this juvenile playing and exploring has just set this fear, and it was there already, because birds need to be scared of cat-like things, especially house cats apparently. Okay, so I immediately see that there is no more kill here. Well, or it's fallen out. So let's just slowly let's just slowly see what is going on here. Now, they are so fantastically camouflaged, these cats, even in this drab bush that we have here now. He is, at first glance, nearly invisible. Right, let's go over to that termite mound. He likes that termite mound, I think, because it can give him some elevation, and it also gives him a cool spot out of the sun. Alright, so let me... Alright, while we look for Cindile, why don't you go over to that lion, or that carcass with those lion cubs on it.
Carcass that is, of course, under much attention. lions absolutely having a ball with this particular buffalo. Sorry, bear with me one moment. You might get some odd sounds. I'm just fiddling with my microphone. There we go. That should be better. I've now readjusted my hat to fit my own head and not Brent's. As you can imagine, his head is slightly larger than mine. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about this, everybody. I'm sure I will be 100% by tomorrow. But for now, the lingering cough has stuck with me for a little longer than expected. This lioness is pulling the skin aside. It's not an easy process devouring a buffalo. We see our lions do it on a regular basis, and that might sound like such an absurd statement because, of course, that is what they rely on and live on. But that skin, the connective tissue that sort of connects the layer of skin to the subcutaneous fat layer and the various connective muscles, is unbelievably tough. It's made up of such a fibrous tissue. So to peel back that skin is actually no small feat. Even cutting into the buffalo's skin is something that the lion is equipped to do with a vast array of sharp tools from teeth to claws. But it's not an easy process. This is why the cubs, of course, are so insistent on feeding where mom is feeding. But there are more lion cubs about. They're just hiding off in the grass, off in a drainage line. So they are around. Hello, little ones. I know it's difficult for where Gendre is to see them. I can barely see them. But I can't resist just having a look. Hey, you're still tiny. Oh, I think hear the other lions. I can hear them calling. Just listen.
Yep. She's there.
She's there. There she is. Oh, such a difficult position. I so wish I could be there for the moment of reunion. So our lionesses that were at the dam camera have rejoined the group. Unfortunately in the most difficult position possible. Oh, and she's lying down in the sand. You can just see cubs scrambling around. Oh, I want to go and join them. I'll go on the other side. Not join them, obviously. That's a ridiculous thing to say. That's not what I meant at all. I meant sort of find a nice position. Just bear with me for one moment. I think Mike is lost. He's been trying to find the sighting, and to be fair, it is a tricky spot. Mike, I still don't think I have your audio. Copy, Mike. When I hit the Shkova, then the track started to go south from there. Stand by one. Let me try and work it out. Poor Mike, it is a difficult sighting to find. Sorry everybody, I'm just trying to help to guide one of the other guides into this difficult sighting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my map, because he wants to know how far away from the other road I am. So that's what I thought. Mike, I've got your audio. Keep coming south. Copy. I think I heard him. Yes. Alright, so basically what I'm just doing here is helping one of the other guides to find the sighting. As I said, it's a tricky spot. There we go. There we go. He's on his way. Fantastic. And we can go back to focusing on our lovely lion family. It is extraordinary how fast these lion cubs have grown. And as I said, in the next few months they'll barely be recognizable as the cute little bundles of fluff that we once knew. Next on my list, of course, is the Styx cubs and Garuda's cubs. But I feel as though this, for an afternoon welcome back from 2 weeks absence, is not a bad way to go. Starting off with Sindile, the lovely male leopard, and now sitting with our lion pride as the female tears into her buffalo carcass. Oh, you know what they haven't done yet? Oh, let's just listen. They haven't got around to actually taking out the stomach contents, the intestines in the stomach. Now, generally, that is the first thing that predators do when they kill something, is they remove the intestines, because as soon as that animal dies, they start the gases within, as part of the normal digestive process, the gases and the bacteria within the buffalo start to go into overdrive, and the gases build up, and you get an almost explosive situation. Now, I'm not too concerned for the safety of Chandra and myself just yet, but at some point they're going to have to burst open that stomach cavity because it is swollen. On a hot day like at the adult lioness. I don't know if this is Mom or if this is one of the other lionesses, but she's looking terribly unimpressed with their boldness. Where's Mike gone? I can't hear him anymore. Oh dear. Oh, sorry everybody, please hold on one moment. Mike, I've lost your audio again. Okay, copy, Mike. Sorry, everybody. I don't want to detract from the sighting. Some amazing vocals coming from these lions. And James Bear, a lovely question coming through from you. Something that we've noticed particularly with the Nkuhumas, as far as we know, there's only 3 lionesses here. Sorry. Destined to listen to the sounds of these incredible animals. Sorry, James. Every time I start to talk, they make another amazing sound, and I don't want to talk over it. Right, James's question is, could hyenas come and push the lions off this buffalo kill? So gross. Yes, James, absolutely they could. And what we've noticed with the Nkuhumas is that they're very careful, particularly with these little cubs. Now, they're getting to the age where they're a lot more resilient, they're a lot faster, they're a lot... Oh! Such cheeky creatures. But with an absence of the males, and with 2 females missing from their ranks, you might find that they could be pushed off this carcass. But generally, hyenas are not fools, and you really, really don't want to tangle with a lioness with a brood of cubs. We've seen what they've been doing to the males over the last few days, or the last few weeks, whenever the males happen to overstep the boundary. And a hyena is much, much smaller than a male lion. Lions are a lot of sound and fury, but often it doesn't translate into major action. So although what we're seeing looks so terribly vicious and unfair, the female hasn't hurt the cubs in any way. And even in the fights that we've seen between the adults, they usually pull their punches when unless it is a really serious territorial fight or something similar. Generally it's sort of bats about the face and the nose, but they don't do the full damage that they would be able to, or would be capable of inflicting in a serious situation. You might find that these females will abandon this buffalo carcass. I don't think so, though. I think between the 3 of them, they'll be able to stave off the hyenas. Look at this cub climbing Mount Buffalo. It's a climbing lesson and a meal all rolled into one. Now I think I can hear Mike. Mike, is that your audio? FM, just keep coming south. We're probably about 50 meters away from you. We're just hidden in this guarri thicket here. And Laura, lovely to have you on board the Sunset Safari. My apologies for the interruptions. However, you want to know how many cubs I can see? 2, 3, 4. Laura, I'm relatively certain that all 8 of them are here, but I can only see the larger ones. I think the youngest 3 have gone down to suckle. The female that I can see in the drainage line, she's got her legs up in the air. That's sort of a typical nursing posture. There we go, one. What have we got here? There's 2 females. So all 3 moms are here, as they were this morning. And I'm pretty sure we've got all 8 cubs, but I've only counted 6 definitely. And in a wonderful turn of affairs, we've managed to, Mike has managed to find us. Oh, such an angry lioness. Look at those teeth. That cub baring its teeth at her. I love them at this age. They are so full of attitude. Hello. Hello, you. Long time no see. Look how you've grown. With your blue eyes. Those are not going to last, but they are gorgeous. Oh, and Mr. Snarly over there, giving Mom a little bit of a lesson in etiquette. Look at their claws. They're such amazing creatures. Ooh. See, it's mostly just sound and warning. Cub tucking its head right into the carcass. There we go. Mom's making life a lot easier. Pulling back the skin. Her instinctive reaction, of course, is she's been throughout her entire life fighting for her place at the carcass. So, of course, her reaction is to snarl and growl at the cub, but there's no real menace to it. It does just make her look terrifying, particularly with a face full of blood like that. Of course, it doesn't help that the cub is really making her life difficult. Oh, and she has abandoned her post to allow the cub to tuck into its meal. Panting away. Now, James and many others. Oh, here comes another lioness. Here she comes. Is she going to go and join in? Because then we could get some serious fireworks around the carcass. Let's just see what she decides to do. Trailed by cubs. I just feel as though there's cubs everywhere. Oh, there's mom number 2 standing up at the back. And there's the little ones. Oh, I barely got to see them before I went away. The youngest members of the Nkuhuma Pride. Oh, flopped down. They've still got their spots on them. Oh, absolutely stunning. No, little. That must be a middle one. Or one of the older ones. That's going to be very hard to keep track of them all. What an extraordinary welcome back. We may have had the gremlins, but we've also had a fantastic afternoon. And to see our beautiful Nkuhuma cubs is the way that I want to start off my work cycle. Mr. Henry is, of course, back once again on Djuma from his adventures in the Mara. But don't tell him I said this, but I really think he might have been right all along. I think that lion cubs may well just be the cutest cat. Baby cat, that is. I think he may have got that spot on. Look at that cub. Thoroughly determined to have a meal. Oh, it's incredible how much they've grown. Cast your mind back to the first time we saw the first 3 Nkuhuma cubs all lined up in a row on Nyala Road North. I'm using her rasping tongue to strip away meat from bone. Cub has since given up. I've decided that that is his lot in life, and it's not quite worth the energy just yet. And what a treat this is going to be first thing tomorrow morning. Perhaps it'll be all misty again, and we'll get to have lions on a buffalo kill in the mist. Or perhaps is that just getting a little bit greedy now? Asking a little bit much. One thing is for sure though, I think there's a very good chance they're still going to be here tomorrow morning. Especially since our hyena clan has moved further north into Manyeleti. Excuse me. So Dark Knight raises a question that has come through many times in the past and is a very, very good question. And that is, what? Every time I start to talk, the cubs start to make a noise. I don't know what to do, I'm so torn. So Dark Knight wants to know why, if we name the individual leopards, do we not name the individual lions and lionesses? Tradition is sort of the general answer, and also in terms of the way that the reason that lions are named and leopards are named. Leopards are solitary, so they move about on their own, so they get their own individual names. Lions are social cats, so they're named for their pride or their coalition, depending on if they're male or female. And it's just a sort of a way of generally referring to them. So it's just a social versus a solitary thing. That being said, Dark Knight, most of our viewers have come to know each and every individual lioness in the Nkuhuma Pride personally, and whilst they don't have any official names, although I think Amber Eyes, given her current viral status throughout the internet, I think that Amber Eyes' name is pretty much official. So we don't name them necessarily, but in our heads we do. We can identify each and every individual. I mean, we also started naming the hyenas, contrary to sort of reserve tradition. But it made life so much easier in terms of identifying each and every individual. And for me, because I've just spent the most amount of time, I think, of any of the lions on this reserve, I've spent the most amount of time with the Nkuhumas. I've come to know them as individuals rather than as a collective. Whereas, for example, if I were to encounter another lion pride, unless I spent considerable period of time with them, they for me would be a collective rather than a group of individuals. So while our lioness tucks in and we enjoy our last few moments of the sunset safari with her, let's head back to Steph and find out what Sindile is up to. It's a big cat afternoon.
Definitely is a big cat afternoon there, Jamie, and we have been spending a fantastic time with Cindile, the leopard, on the termite mound, very close to where he had the leftovers of his kill. I cannot see anything of his kill. I don't know where it is. Beautiful evening sky that Brian's busy showing us there. And have a look. Ta-da! Leopard all of a sudden magically appears out of the darkness. I can't actually see any piece of the kill left anywhere. I mean, he may have covered it. Leopard quite often will scratch leaves over a kill. It's not in the tree anymore that he had treed it in, and it's very possible that he's actually finished it. He's been here now for 3 days, and that's more than enough time for a leopard to finish an impala. And I'm fully expecting to stand up as soon as it gets full dark and move off. Even if it's just a short distance away. He's been defecating and urinating. The impala's been rotting around here. And there's a pervasive smell of leopard. And he will be wary enough after having survived these last 23 months to know that he needs to move out of this area to stay safe. Not breathing as hard as he was yesterday, at least whenever we were here. We were here early this morning in the mist, and then he still had a back leg left of impala. Look at those whiskers come forward. For those of you who were noticing that, you watched him. Oh, there we go. A little burp. Watch it. He puts those whiskers forward. That's how he senses the world around him. In the pitch black, those whiskers will come forward like that and will touch and probe any openings in the bush in front of you. Normally these leopard are not caught looking out of sorts with their whiskers out. It makes them look quite comical. They're normally very sleek. There he goes again. That fly. Oh, yes, go again. Oh. That is just such a fantastic picture. You can even see he's got some whiskers on his cheeks. All designed to allow him to gauge a space that his body will fit through in near pitch blackness. Then underneath his eyes, on his bottom eyelid, you'll notice a white stripe. That is there to reflect starlight into his eyes, allowing him to see a better picture. He's now walking straight at us. We're just going to sit still. I don't quite know the reaction that he's going to have to us. He's coming to me. I'm not going to finish talking. He must know that I'm... Oh, he's going to have a wee. Contented cat. Oh, look at that. He's got a bit of a scar. Is that a scar? Yes, it's a scar on top of his nose. That in years to come will be diagnostic. You can see our Land Rover reflected in his eyes. We're just going to sit still. Sit still. Don't move at all. I'm just busy speaking to Brian. It's going to be hard for him not to move while we're turning the camera. Roger, you've just asked me if he's likely to start sawing anytime soon. Roger, I'd say he's probably a year or so away from sawing. And for those of you who don't know what sawing is the name that we give to a leopard's roar. It sounds like a rasping wood saw. And is very, very distinctive. Carries, funnily enough, quite far. And there he moves off. I actually think that he's going to leave. Going into a monkey orange thicket, which is near impenetrable for us. And let's just see where he's going to go, if he's going to come out. I'm busy watching him. We can now move, but he gave us these weary eyes. I must be honest. Leopard that have had a history like Sindile has, where he lived in very close proximity to humans in his quarantine facility at Moholoholo, I have a distrust of them. And it's because they lose that instinctive fear of humans and will gauge us and our weaknesses very, very finely. And I don't want to be close to a leopard that is not scared of people, because he realizes we're just mushy pieces of skin covered in cotton clothing rather than the dangerous predators that we are. He is moving to another termite mound. I wonder if he hasn't stashed his kill on top of another termite mound. Let's go and follow him a little bit. We won't be able to stick with him for too long. This monkey orange thicket is a big one. But anyway, following 8 minutes of this drive, let's see if we can stick with him. Alright, now I'm going to get myself into a pickle here. See, I don't need to disturb your peace there, guy. You can see him standing on top of that termite mound. That is a classic leopard pose on top of a termite mound, in particular for a male leopard. Oh, that is so beautiful. Take some pictures now, everybody. I'm not expecting Sindile to just up and leave. he's shown remarkable homing capacity in coming back here after being away for so long. And while he's 23 months old, and I expect him to leave within the next 6 months, you never quite know where his wanderings are going to take him. He's fully independent at the moment. His mother Shadow has got a new cub to look after, and although he's adjacent to her territory, she does sometimes come to here. And it's not impossible that she may have even killed this impala and brought him to it. But just have a look at this leopard on top of this termite mound. Isn't that just a fantastic picture? Just have to say well done to Brian. There's these coffee table things that you see. Barring the fact that I've managed to place us with the only piece of grass in front of his face. Oh, that's fantastic. He would just be using the termite mound as a bit of elevation. It gives him a nice viewpoint over the bush. I understand fully what he does. I've done it myself on countless occasions and tracked many countless leopard up onto the crests of these building-sized termite mounds. And there he has a bit of a sleep. And that's precisely what I expected him to do, is move away from this pervasive smell of impala death and leopard and dung and urine, and go on top of a termite mound where he could quite easily sleep the rest of the night, keeping a weather eye and ear open for any disturbance. And rightly so, hyena and lion will most likely go to the site of the kill, giving him advanced warning and the ability to slip off unnoticed. Just as he closes his eyes on top of this fantastic termite mound, after this fantastic day, a real cat-filled day. I haven't seen this many cats in one day for the last decade, and I haven't seen this many cats in the last 6 months of guiding over here. So it's been a leopard-filled day for myself and Brian. And I just want to say thank you to all of you once again. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your questions. And thank you for showing such an interest in what we do. So from me and from Brian and the thumb, I just want to say thank you once again. And from wherever you are in the world, please have a fantastic day. We'll catch you again in the morning at 6 o'clock.
And for the last few moments of the sunset safari, the sun has provided just enough light for us to spend the last few minutes with this fantastic lion pride, with their cubs and their buffalo kill. Now, of course, for new viewers, we do not spotlight or put a light on the young cubs, just to avoid adding an extra level of distraction at a time when they are so young and vulnerable. Of course, as night starts to fall, our biggest scavengers start to roam about. I am, of course, talking about male lions, but leopards as well, and of course the spotted hyena. And we want to make sure that we do nothing to disrupt the lives of these amazing creatures, so we'll be leaving them very shortly as soon as we finish off the sunset safari. But what a fantastic afternoon it has been. A reunion with Sindile, the male leopard. I know that Steph's been commenting on all the cats we've had, but it sounds as though while I've been away, the cats have been keeping you quite thoroughly entertained. So I'm glad I've come back and I've got a chance to... Oh, such a fierce, deep sound for such a tiny, harmless-looking creature. You little monsters. Aren't you wonderful? So a very special reunion with Cindile and with the Nkuhuma cubs, looking as beautiful as ever, and of course our lovely Nkuhuma ladies that have done a marvelous job once again of providing for their growing family. Just imagine that, 8 little growing tummies to fill over the next few weeks and months. But then of course, if all goes according to plan, they will have 8 extra members to supplement the size of the wonderful Nkuhuma pride, and we could have, what would that be? Goodness, my brain's on holiday still. This is be 13, right? I'm not crazy. No, that would be 13. Okay, there might be some males, so they might leave. I promise you I used to be able to do maths at one point. It's a bit of a struggle. I am still on holiday, clearly. But yes, a 13-strong Nkuhuma pride in the future to look forward to. Continue to go from strength to strength, which is particularly wonderful after all of the challenges that every lion pride faces at some point in their lives. Okay, little ones, have a good evening. Enjoy your buffalo dinner. Rather you than me, I have to say. Particularly when that stomach content explodes, which is going to happen, and is potentially going to shower some poor hapless cub in grass and intestines, which actually would be thoroughly entertaining to watch, I have to say. Maybe a bit gross, though. Perhaps we'll be fortunate enough to witness that and other marvellous things on the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. You'll just have to stay tuned in a couple of hours to find out what happens. I'm going to safely put my things online and say that I think they're going to be there. So thank you to all of you for sending through your welcome backs for myself and for Gendre, of course. It is wonderful to be back in your company and, of course, their company once again. And a big thank you, on that note, to Gendre for his fantastic camera work. It's good to have him back. Oh, it's so nice to be back. I can't describe it. It's just such a fantastic feeling of well-being. And a big thank you to Kirsty and to Lou in Final Control. And most importantly, a big thank you to all of you joining us and watching across the globe. I hope you've had a marvellous time. Thank you for sticking with us with the Gremlins today. I'll see you tomorrow on the Sunrise Safari. Bye-bye, everybody.